All right, thanks for staying with us. It's time to take a look at the headlines this morning. We're being joined by CEO of CKN News, and that's Kehinde-Nwandu. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
I feel the heaviness, of course, and we're trying as much as we can to actually really shake it off so we don't further depress our viewers, you know, with all the tragedies happening all around the country. We're trying to get over the Plateau incident, and then the Lagos disaster happens. All right, let's begin with a punch. 9 dead, 54 vehicles burnt in Lagos tanker explosion, and the pictures say it all. If you're trying to, you know, get a glimpse of what hell looks like, this is just it.
That's just it. When the reports started coming in yesterday, when you're merely looking at the flame and then the lineup of flames on vehicles and the rest of them, the pictures were so gory, and even the video prints and the rest of them. And it's but the most annoying part of it is that, just as you guys rightly mentioned in your opening, this was avoidable. Yeah, it was avoidable. Okay, I don't know how long we'll continue to talk about the roadworthiness of most of the vehicles on our roads, especially articulated trucks.
It's important you mention that.
At a point, gave an order that they shouldn't be driving during the day.
That is what I wanted to say.
To the night.
Yes, and there was a time that we said these guys should be plying their trades in the night. Yeah. When we have less vehicles
9 or
on
10 p.m.
From 9 p.m. when the road is relatively free. But I don't know why we cannot enforce that. I don't know why the law enforcement agencies and the relevant agencies cannot enforce that. We also know that there are other spots where...
Somehow it's like the tanker drivers, you know, hold... They try to blackmail government. When government comes up with, you know, ways to actually prevent this kinds of disasters. You know, the unfortunate thing is, it's always after it happens, and then there's some kind of directive from government, and then nothing is done. An acquaintance of mine was telling me yesterday that actually he leaks fuel at the Apapa tanker, that when he sees some of those trucks, and it is obvious to even the untrained eye that these trucks should not be on the road. Definitely. Either the tires are terrible or something is wrong, you know, something visibly wrong with those trucks, and yet they load those tankers with fuel and move all the way to the north. Yes,
that is the true situation. By the time you look at most of these trucks, that you just know that they're not roadworthy. Most of them. At times, some of them, even while they are going on the road, you see them dripping fuels and the rest of them, if you are following them. That in itself is a disaster on its own. But we will continue to go through this until we find an alternative to how to remove petroleum products. Because this guy, we have alternative. Yes, exactly. And they turn to themselves at untouchables. Yeah. They've turned to themselves to lords. Another disaster will soon happen. When you see the way they line up across the roads towards the bridges and the rest of them, most of our bridges in Lagos. Of course,
you know the stance of the state government is especially on tankers and trailers parking on the bridges. Yeah,
there have been so many instances to get them off the bridges, but they refused. When you try to enforce that, I know that at a point, the state government also got a parking lot where they said, okay, all of you move in. There was also a time where it said, okay, before you come, park at a particular point before coming to Lagos. Just when you have a phone call that is your town to load, Chris, just drive in and rest.
You would be surprised, really, when you walk close to some people that are in the know. You'd be surprised what you'd hear. Some will tell you that it's even beyond the state government.
Yes, it is.
Truly it is.
No, it's not a state government thing. It takes more than the state government to be able to do that, because and also until we decentralize our depots. As we decentralize our depot points, where everybody doesn't have to come to Lagos to lift. You understand? Before we used to have Warri, we used to have other parts of the country, but most of these places had been shut down. Nothing is happening, so everybody just come to Lagos to lift. And some of them, you can also be fair to them, some of them stay as much as about 7 days.
Well, of course, President Buhari has expressed shock and condolences for the people of Lagos. let's hope it goes beyond that. That real action actually will be taken.
Then another point also is that you know that particular point, that particular the $10 bridge has been very, very notorious.
Disaster.
It's been disaster.
As a matter of fact, before this tanker explosion,
it has always been. We've had several.
A truck
several.
Upturned.
You see a trailer losing that particular spot. Then something must be wrong. I believe the Federal Ministry of Works should go to be able to look at what the problem is. There is a big problem at that particular point.
And unfortunately, when they say people should, people plying the roads should look for alternative routes.
Where are the alternative routes? Which of the alternative routes?
Where are they?
Well, some officials gave out some alternative routes yesterday on our news. They even opened, they said they spoke with estate managers there to open up their...
But that also leads you out by the time you come at the point where it happened.
To the express road, that's the point. All right, moving on, still other troubling issues here. UN condemns plateau killings. Amnesty International says FG encouraging murderers. Wanton killings have been in Nigeria for some time, says presidency. Of course, recall Femi Adesina, the president's media special advisor on media, came out with some points as to the number of killings that happened under the previous administration, under the PDP government, and that it would be unconscionable to read this to mean that government is saying, after all, there were more killings during the PDP administration than now.
2 points now. Femi Adesina's press statement, then amnesty. Let's take Femi Adesina. That is the most unfortunate press statement I've ever seen from anybody. Okay? It is the way we've taken human lives in this country is like this thing doesn't make any sense to some people. Do we need to start comparing how many people were killed in the previous administration with the present administration?
Well, he says that's not the intention of that.
Whichever way you look at it, I saw that press release, I read it over 5 times, and I didn't see any reason for it. There was no reason for that. You are telling me in 2011, so people were killed, in 2012, so people were killed, 2015. Is that what we are talking about?
Was this administration not voted in to change that?
That is what I'm about saying, because one of the reasons why you were voted was that you say you are going to correct the wrongs. You say you are going to provide security to all Nigerians. You say you are going to make the place safer for them. Absolutely. This is one of the reasons. We are then coming to amnesty. The report released by Amnesty yesterday was very, very damaging. You heard what they said? They said in the past 6 months, in terms of killing, it has doubled compared to what it was in 6 months before that.
1,800.
1,800, about 13. And they said, and that, the specific was that reason, just that official figure, and the reason given was that why this is continuing is because of the fact that the federal government is not bringing those behind this to book. So they have seen themselves untouchables, and they've seen that they can do.
Okay, you know what? We need to move on. We've not even touched the other papers, and we've gone so far already. We'll start spending $321 million Abacha loot next month, says FG. From 1st of July, we'll start spending it.
I thought they said they are going to share it among
the poor.
The poor. Anyway, let's just go to the next paper this time. Of course, still the same sad story on the fire incident. That is the major story on the front page of The Nation. Rage of fire in Lagos. Of course, we already gave the stats. 9 die, 54 vehicles burnt in tanker fire. Buhari and Bode sympathize with victims' families. So we leave that. We come to the top of the paper. Salaries delay likely over FARC deadlock, and that's the federal government's allocation committee not agreeing with the
commissioners the commissioners of finance and the agencies involved are still trying to meet themselves in between, and some refuse to collect or accept. And I collect or accept whichever. So there was a deadlock, and they're going to meet again. But what that means is that today is 29th already. It means that certain levels of workers will not be able to collect their salary.
Okay, absolutely. All right, we come down to the paper here. Agbakoba activists seek people's constitution. And this is not the first time we are hearing. Some other vocal activists have been calling that the constitution we are using is not pro-people, that we should have. The
constitution was given to us by the military. So whatever we are using now is just something given us. I think we also try to right the wrongs. What would they did in action? Was it now?
The confab?
The confab that we had, well,
the 2014,
we were divided whether to accept or not to accept. So that is where we are. So we are still, that constitution is amended, which will take a lot of time, because apart from the National Assembly, it will have to go through the 36 states
for ratification.
Long process it would take.
Yes.
All right, moving on very quickly to the Daily Sun. Lagos, fire, the fury. Fuel tanker explodes, kills 10, destroys 57 vehicles. And 5 killed as police and butchers clash in Ibadan over a relocation order of an abattoir.
It's just unfortunate. The way, when you hear this killing and killing, so many avoidables. This one was that the state government said that the butchers should be relocated to a certain place. They said, no, we are not going to leave. Then the government came in with security agencies and mayhem, and before you knew it, 5 people were dead.
Yes,
avoidable.
And millions of property destroyed. How ex-Globacom director was killed. A hotelier was said to have been killed in the Bafo area of Lagos.
Our good friend, fantastic guy. Oko Niyama is one fantastic guy. You can just, and he's just 51. He was just killed in his, was assassinated in his hotel, which has just been recently at Mowe. Some people just came in there and they snubbed the life out of him. I just hope that the security agencies are able to fish out
the worth of Nigerian life. Government begins HIV survey nationwide. Of course, you would recall that there were reports that the number of HIV victims, the numbers are rising more and more, and government says it's because there is no accurate data. We must redesign security architecture of Nigeria, says Nyesom Wike, Governor of Rivers State.
Because of time, we'll have to end the newspaper review here. Chris Kehinde-Nwandu, but we'll still hold you on for our discussion, so just stay with us.